Hi there, greetings everybody. I want to welcome you all here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. It's Tuesday night. On Tuesday night, we are going to be running a mini series, which is going to go 6 episodes in total. So basically, what the way this works is, subscriber friend of mine, Ben, he will pick 6 different bands over 6 episodes, and he'll give me 15 deep cuts from them. And that is going to be the name of the series, Deep Cuts. So these are not songs that got played on the radio a lot by them, by any of these bands. They're just songs that are on the album that once you get the album and you listen to it, they tend to be songs you like. That's the way it's been with my experience. So last week we did Deep Purple. This week we're going to be doing Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, Fleetwood Mac, the band that sold millions of albums, absolutely. Did very well, especially that particular album. I've always had, so when I first started out listening to music, everybody knows I started out first with BTO and then I went to Kiss, and I was only listening to Kiss for the longest period of time, probably till the end of 1978. Middle to end of 1978, and then from about 79 through to about 81, there's an explosion of bands that I was listening to, a lot of different stuff from a lot of different bands. I tend to have gotten at least one album from a whole whack of bands. That seems to be what happened. So Fleetwood Mac was one of those bands in that list. I've always kind of thought of myself as a casual Fleetwood Mac fan. I listen to their stuff. I like the stuff that I heard on the radio. I bought this album. I think I may have had the other Fleetwood self-titled album, the one, not the Peter Green one, but the other one, the first one with Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. Sorry. So I kind of considered myself a casual fan. So I've never had a period in time where I really wasn't listening to them. So it's always kind of been a little bits here, a little bits there over the last 45 years. I've always had an interest in the band, but never enough to go kind of hog wild on them or anything. In recent years, I've picked up 3 or 4 albums by them, so I now have a greatest hits. I've got 4 other albums here, and there was a couple others I was looking at the other day when I thought about this and was going to pick up one, but got something else instead. That tends to be what happens with me. So I call myself a kind of a casual Fleetwood Mac fan. So most of the songs that he gave me today, I think there may be one on the whole list of them that I'd actually heard before. Actually, that might not be entirely true. Based on the fact that a couple of these albums do have songs on them that are on this list, I probably have heard them more, but just didn't remember them as well. But anyways, I listened to them all over the last couple of days, and I've kind of ranked them the way I like them. So I'm going to do this the way we always do these kind of things, which is my least favorite to my most favorite, or my worst to first. And don't get too caught up in the position of these songs for a number of reasons. First of all, I haven't had a great deal of time with most of these tracks. The other thing is that there seems to be like 3 groups here. There's the group at the bottom, which are, okay, passable songs, but nothing great. And the middle pack, which are better songs that I liked a little bit more. And then you got the top half, which are songs that I think kind of will grow on me as I listen to them more. So we're going to do this in the order that, like I said, from the worst to first. I'll also tell you what album they're on and what year that album came out. So we have a total of, like I said, 15 tracks. We're going to start out with the last song. It's the only one I forgot to rate the singer on here. I'm not sure. I think it is. I think it's Lindsey Buckingham, but for some reason I forgot to put his name on there. But that's okay. So it comes from their self-titled album, 1975 one, not the Peter Green one. This is the second one with the self-title on it. It's kind of a slow, beefy rock track. Nothing Nothing too outstanding here. Kind of a song that's a little bit on the forgettable side. Comes in here, and somebody has to be at the bottom, so it's going to be this song. It's called Blue Letter. That's the name of the song. So Blue Letter will come in the 15th spot. Number 14, not much better, Book of Love. It came off the Mirage album, which I don't own. That came out in 1982. It's a bit of an up-tempo pop track. That's the best way to describe it. The number 13 song, Isn't It Midnight? Singing this particular track is Christine McVie. She actually sang that last one as well. Sings this one. It comes from Tango in the Nights, this album. Kind of like this cover quite a bit. I think this is kind of one of those, I bought it because I like the cover type things. Yeah, that song is on this album. That album came out in 1987, and I find this to be, again, another up-tempo, very up-tempo kind of poppy track as well. And you're going to get a lot of that because that's what I think is the bread and butter of this band, is their up-tempo, poppy kind of love tracks, or ballads, if you prefer. Next track up, again, not much of a jump here. I'm So Afraid came off the self-titled, their 10th LP from 1975. Again, the not Peter Green one, but the other one. It's a pretty decent song. Buckingham doing the vocals here. It's kind of, I would call this a heavy bluesy track, and that would definitely fit in there. Next up, in the 11th spot, Straight Back, Stevie Nicks on vocals here, from Mirage, 1982. This is a kind of a heavy drum beat pop ballad. I would call this a ballad. So those first 5 songs, I would go as far as to say you could probably interchange, well, at least the first 4 anyways. This one may be a little bit better than the other one. So those first 4 could kind of mess around with them in any way you want. For me, they're all pretty interchangeable there. Now we move up to number 10. In Back of My Mind is the name of the song. It comes from Behind the Mask, a 1990 album, so we're getting later in their career. This is a kind of I would call this a kind of spacey, kind of poppy song, I guess, a little bit like that. Buckingham doing the vocals on this particular, wrong song, I'm looking at the wrong list. This is Buckingham and McVie, or Burnett and McVie, sorry, my apologies there. Burnett and McVie, so it's a bit of a newer album. It's a newer album, sorry, I wanted to say older, but it's a newer one. So this is after Buckingham was out of the band and replaced by Burnett on guitar. They had a second guy too, whose name I cannot remember. I probably could see it if I could find the album. Here it is. Yeah, I'd have to look inside to see. So you've got, I think it's just Burnett at this point in time. I think the other guy just was a filler. Of course, they never tell you anything. You got to look through the whole thing to find it. Yeah, they're not going to say nothing. It's too bad that most of these bands didn't kind of do the same thing. They have the credits in a certain spot so that you don't have to go spending your whole time looking for them, but that's not the case. Everybody wants to be unique, right? Anyways, Burnett and McVie doing the vocals here. This is, again, on Behind the Mask. A decent song, not a terrible song by any stretch. We move up a little bit to number 9. This is probably the first song that I actually like. The other songs are okay, I don't mind them, but this is probably the first one I kind of like. Love That Burns. This is Peter Green on vocals here, from the album Mr. Wonderful from 1968. This is definitely a heavy bluesy track, something that I was getting into, going back into the Fleetwood Mac discography so I could hear a little bit about the stuff that people told me about, and this was one of those tracks, number 9. Number 8, Sisters of the Moon. This is Stevie Nicks on vocals. This comes from their late 1979 album, which was actually the first one I had heard, called Tusk. It's a kind of a low-key beat song, bit of an emotional track, I would say, but it's still, nevertheless, not a bad track. Pretty good, actually. I didn't mind it. So that's from Tusk. Next up is the number 7 called Emerald Eyes. Bob Welch on vocals here, from the Mystery to Me album from 1973. This is a low-key track as well. Low-key pop track, actually. I didn't mind this. Wasn't too bad. I like Bob Welch's voice. I don't know much about his music. I do have the one album now with him. On this one, Bare Trees. I believe this is it. Produced by Martin Birch, too. Anyways, the song Emerald Eyes comes from Mystery to Me. It's got that kind of a gorilla on the cover. Next up, the number 6 track. Sorry, I missed my spot there. Homeward Bound is the name of the song. It's not a track from the movie either, just in case you're thinking. This comes from this particular album I just showed you, Bare Trees. This is Christine McVie on vocals here. Album came out in 1972. It's an up-tempo, kind of heavy drum pop track. And a little bit of a rocky roll feel to it as well. Pretty good, solid track. Now we're moving up again to number 5. So now we're in the top 5. Brown Eyes is the next one from Tusk from 1979. Christine McVie on vocals here. It's kind of a low-key track with a bit of a nice beat and tempo to it. Definitely a top 5 track on this list for me. Number 4, Running Through the Garden. This is Stevie Nicks on the vocals. I like Stevie Nicks' vocals. She's just has a very distinguishing voice. Say You Will. This is from this album. This, I believe, is their last album as a band from 2003. Another kind of up-tempo track, pop track. But this album is much heavier than a lot of their albums. I find this to be one of their heaviest albums. It doesn't have Christine McVie on it. That's the only thing that's a little bit off on it. But that's my number 4 track, Running Through the Garden. Next up, number 3, Future Games. This is off the Future Games album. I believe this is their second or third album. I think it might be their third album. Future Games from 1971. Very psychedelic track here. Different than all the other tracks that we've listed, that I've got on this list. Quite a bit more psychedelic than any of the other ones. Bob Welch on the vocals here. Yeah, very good track. I like this one. So now we're down to the final 2 tracks. Number 2, Hypnotized. Bob Welch again on the vocals here from Mystery to Me, 1973. It's kind of a mellow but smooth track. Something kind of likable about the track right away. I liked it right away. I like Bob's vocals. I think he sounds good. This album came out in, of course, 1973. This is the album with the gorilla on it. Or the drawing of a gorilla on it. It's probably a better, accurate term. And then the number 1 track for me is called Trinity. Danny Kerwin on vocals here. I believe it's Danny. Previously unreleased track. Came from this time period, but never was put on this track. At least I don't think it's not on this one anyways. No. It was a track recorded at the same time period, but wasn't put on the album. But I like it the best of all the tracks here. Very rhythmic. Some pretty heavy guitar here and a nice beat. So for me, that was the number 1 track. So I'm not going to use the albums anymore. I didn't need to. I will give you them once more in the order that they go from top to bottom this time. So number 1 is Trinity. That's off of the previously unrecorded from the Bare Trees time period. Number 2, Hypnotized from the Mystery to Me from 1973. Number 3 is Future Games from the Future Games album, 1971. Number 4, Running Through the Garden from the Say You Will from 2003 album. Number 5, Brown Eyes from Tusk, 1979. Number 6, Homeward Bound from Bare Trees from 1972. Emerald Eyes is in 7th place from Mystery to Me, 1973. Number 8 is Sisters of the Moon from Tusk, 1979. Number 9 is Love That Burns from Mr. Wonderful from their 1968. I think this might have been their debut album too. I'm sure somebody will let me know if it is. Number 10 is In the Back of My Mind from Behind the Mask, 1990. Straight Back is number 11 from Mirage, 1982. Number 12 is I'm So Afraid from the self-titled 10th released studio album, not the original one, from 1975. Number 13, I can't find it here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Isn't It Midnight from Tango in the Nights from 1987. Number 14, Book of Love from Mirage from 1982. And the last track, Blue Letter from the self-titled with their 10th LP from 1975. So there you go. Those are my top 15. Well, those are my rankings of the 15 deep cuts that I was given for Fleetwood Mac by Ben. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's kind of fun to do it. I hadn't heard most of this stuff. A couple of tracks were a little bit familiar to me from albums I already own. But so it was kind of interesting to hear all the different sounds that this group went throughout their history. Anyways, please hit the like and subscribe. That's much appreciated. If you want to rank these songs yourself, you're more than welcome to do so. Or if you want to just talk about some of the albums and the tracks, you can do that. Or talk about Fleetwood Mac, you're welcome to do that in the comment section below. And we will be back for episode number 3 next week of the mini-series we're running called Deep Cuts. I'm interested to see who he's going to put up on the board for me now. Anyways, take care, have yourself a good evening, and goodbye here from the Prog Monster.